Hey guys, Shifty here with another Pokemon challenge, this one being can I beat Pokemon Diamond with only one Delibird. I chose Delibird because by the time I finished my last challenge, that being Pokemon X with only one Clauncher, which you guys should check out by the way, I noticed that Christmas wasn't too far away, and with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl only a week away as of writing this, why not try to milk some views from the original games? Besides that, Delibird isn't a good Pokemon. For starters, it only learns Present by level up, so I'm relying totally on TMs and HMs for moves. Present is a weird move and it has an 80% chance to do damage and a 20% chance to heal the opponent for a quarter of its max HP. On top of that, the power of the move is random as well. It can be 40 base power, 80 base power, or 120 base power. To add to the randomness of this Pokemon is its ability Hustle, which boosts the power of physical moves by 1.5 times, but makes them only 80% accurate. So we have to get through an 80% chance for the move to hit, then get through another 80% chance for the move to do damage, then that damage is random. And all this isn't even touching its stats. Its best stat is its base 75 speed, which could be a lot worse to be fair, but other than that, its attack stats are okay I guess, but Hustle should help us with the physical attack. It gets some useful TMs, but nothing super good, although Aerial Ace, Return, and Avalanche should be big helps. With all that out of the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and lets me know you guys want to see more of this kind of content. I replaced Turtwig with Delibird, so Barry has Infernape, which outspeeds and is super effective against us, making this run extra hard. I check its stats and see that it has a neutral nature and Hustle as the ability. Honestly, this is about how I'd like it to be. I don't really want any stat drop. After making it to Jubilife, we battle Barry and we actually win on the first try. I'll be honest, I genuinely didn't think we would. Maybe this challenge won't be so hard. But then it dawned on me that the first gym is a rock type gym. After having to be level 20 to get through the first two gym trainers, we challenged Rourke, and he fucking rolled us. It wasn't even close. We tried again at level 30, and while it definitely helped, we still lost without even taking down one of his Pokemon. This is only because of this stupid move that I have to use until we get a learnable TM. After about a dozen attempts, we get this run. On the first turn, our Present does about 75% as Geodude sets up a Stealth Rock, which doesn't help at all. Next turn, Rourke heals with a potion as we hit a weaker Present. The following turn, we both miss our moves, then we take Geodude to the yellow as a Rock Throw does about a third of our health. Next turn, we outspeed and KO Geodude. Rourke's second Pokemon is Onix, which barely takes anything from Present as it lands a weak Rock Throw. Next turn, we miss as Onix hits a Screech, so the next hit most likely KOs. On the following turn, we KO with a crit Present, and last out is Cranidos, which we outspeed, but we miss our Present, and it decides to just go for Leer instead of hitting us. And next turn, we one-hit KO with a Present, winning us our first gym badge. Even with us being level 30, this was mostly just good luck. After making it to Floroma Town, I get the TM for Pluck, which thankfully Delibird can learn, giving us a decently powerful stab move, and it has the added bonus of stealing the opponent's berry. Now it's time for the Valley Windworks fight against Mars. As you could probably guess, our level 31 Delibird using a stab, Hustle boosted Pluck, swept. Zubat was a one-shot, then probably fakes us out, so we lose our turn, but once we connect, it's an easy one-hit KO. After getting through Eterna Forest and avoiding all possible trainers, we make it to the Grass Gym, and can you guess how that went? I'll give you some time to think about it. Okay, time's up. If you said it was easy as hell, then you're right. Good job. Cherubi was a one-shot. We missed Pluck, and Turtwig set up a Reflect, but Pluck still one-shot. And lastly is Roserade, which was also a one-shot with Pluck, winning us our second gym badge. Once we healed, we headed over to the Team Galactic building to take on Jupiter, and this is how it went. I started with Present for a little trolling, but Zubat actually lives it on 1 HP and hits us with a Wing Attack. Then we miss our next Present, and again get hit with a Wing Attack. Then KO with Pluck. Next is Skuntank, which lives a Pluck and poisons us with Poison Gas, but it's not enough as the following turn we KO with Pluck. After we get the bicycle, I go down to the Orbor Gate basement to get the TM for Brick Break, which Delibird learns. This will be a big help for Rock and Steel type Pokemon that resist our moves. We get to Hearthstone in one piece, but when we try to leave, Barry challenges us and it went as expected. He leads Starly, which goes down to 1 Present, Monferno goes down to 1 Pluck, Weasel also goes down to 1 Pluck, and lastly is his Rosalia, which also goes down to 1 Pluck. Anyone want to guess how the fighting gym went? We start with missing a Pluck as our Meditite hits a weak Confusion. Next turn it stalls with Detect, but on the following turn we KO with Pluck. Next is her Ace Lucario, which takes massive damage from Pluck, then fires back a Drain Punch for about a third of our health, but we KO with Pluck the next turn. Last out is our Machoke, which also goes down to 1 Pluck, winning us our third badge. On Route 213, before getting to Pastoria, we get the team for Aerial Ace, which I teach Delibird. Aerial Ace never misses, so this should definitely help with our Hustle ability. Now it's time for Crasher Wake. He leads with a Gyarados, which has Intimidate, so our attack is down for the whole battle. We outspeed and do nearly half with Aerial Ace, as Bite barely does anything. Next turn we hit another Aerial Ace, but it just barely misses the KO, so we have to take a Dragon Rage from Gyarados. Next turn, Wake heals Gyarados, but 2 Aerial Aces takes it down. Next is Quagsire, which similarly takes just under half from Aerial Ace and fires back a Tail Whip, as on the next turn we go for Return, hoping for a KO, but it doesn't come. On the following turn, Wake heals Quagsire, but like with Gyarados, 2 more Aerial Aces takes it down, leaving just 1 more Pokemon. Last out is Floatzel, which we outspeed and do over half health to with Aerial Ace, but this pops its Citrus Berry, which heals it back to the green. Then it hits a Pursuit for a little damage, but we can't KO on the next turn with Aerial Ace, and this gives it a chance to KO us with Brine, which is a very powerful move if we're below half health. Man, I regret teaching Aerial Ace over pluck right now. After a few more attempts, we get this run. Gyarados is still the lead, but our aerial aces are doing a little more now. Even with this, we still just barely miss the KO and have to take a bite. On the following turn, Wake heals Gyarados, but a present and an aerial ace take it down. Next is Quagsire, which takes an aerial ace for nearly half its health as it hits a slam. Next turn, we land an aerial ace to take it to the red, and it misses slam. The following turn, Wake heals, but 2 more aerial aces puts Quagsire down. Last is Floatzel, which eats a present and then its Citrus Berry, then fires back a Swift for minimal damage. Another present takes it to the red as it hits back with Pursuit, but on the following turn, we hit an aerial ace and KO the Floatzel, winning us our 4th gym badge. Shortly after beating the gym, Barry wants to battle, and it goes as well as you'd think. Literally every single one of his Pokemon is a one-shot. Starly, Monferno, Weasel, and Rosalia, all one-shots, who would have guessed. Once we make it back to Hearthome, we finally get to battle Fantina, and this is how it went. Drifloon takes massive damage from aerial ace as we take a Gust, and on the following turn, Fantina doesn't heal, so we can KO. Next is Ms. Magius, which lives on what I have to imagine is 1 HP, heals with a berry, then confuses us. We break out of it though and KO Ms. Magius. Last is Gengar, and we snap out of confusion and hit Gengar for massive damage, but it doesn't attack and just goes for spite. On the following turn, Fantina heals, but our aerial ace brings it back to the red, and next turn we KO, winning us the 5th gym badge. On our way to fight the 6th gym, Barry stops us for a battle, and guess how it goes. All 5 of his Pokemon are one-shots, it's not even worth showing. After absolutely washing Barry, it's time to battle the 5th gym. This gym's the whole reason why I got the TM for Brick Break, so let's see it put in some work. I also gave Delibird the Shell Bell so we can recover a little HP every time we attack. Byron leads with Bronzor, which feints to a crit Brick Break. Next is Bastiodon, which is 4 times weak to fighting moves and goes down to 1 Brick Break. Lastly is Steelix, which lives a Brick Break easily and fires back a Gyro Ball for massive damage. We miss our Brick Break, which is honestly deserved after mowing down Byron's first 2 Pokemon. Steelix hits a weak Ice Fang, but on the following turn we can Brick Break again to bring Steelix to just a sliver of HP, but instead of attacking he just sets up a Sandstorm. Next turn Byron heals with a Full Restore and we Brick Break for over half health. On the next turn we can KO Steelix with Brick Break and win our 6th badge. I guess you could say Byron got his brick broke. I'm sorry about that, on with the video. Shortly after beating Byron, we get the word that Team Plasma is blowing shit up, so we have to go and put a stop to it. We make it there and have to battle Saturn. He leads with Kadabra, which goes down to a single aerial ace. Next is Bronzor, which lives a Brick Break and hits a 4-time super effective Rock Tomb for about half our health and a speed drop, but on the next turn we KO. Lastly is Toxicroak, which goes down to 1 aerial ace. Now we have to make our way to Lake Verity to stop Mars. She leads with a Golbat, which barely lives a return, then misses a Supersonic, going down to an aerial ace the following turn. Second out is Bronzor, which lives a Brick Break with just under half health and fires back a Gyro Ball for a 1/3 of our HP. But next turn it goes down to another Brick Break. Last is Pregly, which is a one-shot with a super effective Brick Break. With this done now, we have to get to Snow Point and battle Candace, and it went like this. She leads with Snover, which is one-shot by aerial ace. Second is Medicham, which is also one-shot by aerial ace. Next is Sneasel, which goes down to 1 aerial ace as well. And lastly is Abomasnow, and do you want to guess how he got KO'd? If you guessed aerial ace, you'd be right, congratulations, and that gives us our 7th gym badge. Afterwards, I go back to Route 216 to get the TM for Ice Beam. Although it doesn't get the boost from Hustle, it's still a very good move in this game and is going to be our only Ice-type move. With Ice Beam acquired, it's time to stop Team Galactic at their HQ in Veilstone. After making our way past all the grunts, it's time for our first official battle with Cyrus. He leads off with a Murkrow, which gets KO'd by 1 aerial ace. Second is Golbat, which goes down to 1 Ice Beam. And lastly is Sneasel, which gets messed up by an aerial ace, but it lives on a sliver and heals with a berry, before hitting us with a weak slash. Cyrus heals, but our aerial ace is still more than enough to KO. After trekking up Mount Coronet, we have to fight Mars and Jupiter with a berry, and after a couple of tries, this is how it went. We Brick Break Bronzor on the right to bring it to the yellow and get hit with a Gyro Ball in return. Next turn we Brick Break the other Bronzor to bring it to the yellow as well, and again get hit with a Gyro Ball for our troubles. On the following turn we KO the right Bronzor and take another Gyro Ball. Next out is Purugly, which goes down to 1 Brick Break, and we take yet another Gyro Ball from Bronzor. Lastly for the right side is Golbat, which is just 1 Ice Beam away from a KO, and thankfully we only take a little from a Rock Slide. And with the right side being bullied down, it's time to focus the left side. Bronzor is a KO with Brick Break, and next is Skunk Tank. We land an Ice Beam, but it just barely misses the KO and it heals with a berry. But instead of going for Flamethrower, it goes for Poison Jab on Munchlax, and Munchlax actually does something by hitting a Body Slam on the Skunk Tank. It doesn't KO, but it's appreciated nonetheless. On the following turn, we can KO with 1 more aerial ace, and last out is Golbat, which goes down to 1 Ice Beam, winning us the battle, but we aren't done yet because now we have to stop Cyrus. He leads with Honchkrow, which gets KO'd by a single Ice Beam. Next is his Gyarados with Intimidate, so our attack is down for the rest of the battle. Keeping that attack drop in mind, I go for an Ice Beam, bringing Gyarados to the yellow and freezing it. On the following turn, Cyrus heals, but 2 returns takes it out. Third out is his Crobat, which is just an Ice Beam away from a KO, and lastly is Weavile, but our 4-time super effective Brick Break demolishes it, winning us the battle. After literally saving the universe, we still have to go and battle the 8th gym, and this is how it went. Volkner leads with a Raichu, which we outspeed and hit with an Ice Beam for great damage and freeze. Volkner heals with a Hyper Potion, but another Ice Beam takes it to the yellow and 1 more KOs Raichu. Next is Luxray, which takes good damage from Ice Beam, but it heals with a berry before hitting a Charge Beam. Another Ice Beam leaves Luxray on a sliver, and it fires back another Charge Beam, but it's not enough to KO, and we can KO on the follow-up. Third is Ambipom, which gets OHKO'd by a crit Brick Break, and lastly is Octillery, and it goes down with 2 aerial aces, winning us our 8th and final gym badge, Rapidash, meaning now it's time for the Elite Four. It's time for one more berry battle. He leads with Staraptor with Intimidate, so our attack is down for the entire battle, but that doesn't help it live in Ice Beam. Second is Infernape, which gets taken to the yellow with an Aerial Ace and fires back a Focus Blast, except it missed as all Focus Blasts do, and we KO on the follow-up. Third is Heracross, you know, the Pokemon that's 4 times weak to flying type moves? Yeah, it was an OHKO. Fourth is Floatzel, which hits a weak Aqua Jet as we fire back an Aerial Ace, and on the following turn we can outspeed and KO. Second to last is his Snorlax, which takes just under half from a Brick Break and lands a Crunch for not much damage, but it gets the defense drop. Then I mistakenly think that Aerial Ace would do more damage, but it doesn't matter as Snorlax goes for a rest, which allows us to Brick Break it twice, bringing it to just a sliver. On the following turn we go for a Brick Break to finish it, but we miss, meaning Snorlax can wake up and land another Crunch for good damage, but our Aerial Aces never miss, meaning we KO Snorlax, and the last is Roserade, and guess how it got KO'd? One Aerial Ace. I knew Aerial Ace was going to be a good move because it never misses, but damn, this move really put in work. Before we begin the Elite Four, these are our stats. Definitely not the worst, but those defenses are looking a little flimsy. 1 or 2 strong special moves and we're gone. But with that being said, let's get into it. First is who leads with Dustox, which is a one-shot with Aerial Ace. Next is Vespiquen, which manages to live an Aerial Ace in red health and fire back a 4 times super effective Power Gem for nearly an OHKO. Aaron heals, but our Aerial Ace brings it back down to the red and we can KO on the following turn. Next is Heracross, which is just the freest KO ever. Fourth is Drapion, which easily lives an Aerial Ace and fires back an Aerial Ace of its own. On the following turn, our Ice Beam takes it to the red, but it heals with a berry and lands another Aerial Ace. We KO with one more Ice Beam, but we are barely hanging on. Thankfully, last is Beautifly, which is a one-shot with an Aerial Ace. Honestly, that was way closer than it had any right to be. Next is Bertha, the ground-type Elite Four member. She leads with the best Pokemon ever made, Quagsire, which takes over half of a return before getting up a Sandstorm. On the following turn, return misses the KO, and Quagsire starts getting toxic and going for Double Team. Bertha heals, but our never-miss Aerial Ace takes Quagsire to about half again, and then she switches out to Sudowoodo, which takes barely anything from our return. Sudowoodo Sucker Punches us for a decent chunk of our HP, but our Brick Break nearly KOs. On the following turn, we go for another Brick Break, but we miss, allowing Sudowoodo to set the Sandstorm back up. Next turn, we take another Sucker Punch before KOing with Brick Break. Next is Golem, which barely lives in Ice Beam and lands a Gyro Ball for a KO. I honestly wasn't expecting to lose this early into the Elite Four, but we'll be back. After a couple of tries, we get this attempt. She leads with Quagsire, which stalls us with Protect for no reason, then on the next turn, it takes an Ice Beam for about 3/4 of its HP and goes for a Double Team, but our Aerial Ace is enough to take down Quagsire. Next is Golem, which goes down to an Ice Beam now. Third is Sudowoodo, which lands a Sucker Punch, but our Brick Break is better, taking it from full all the way to the yellow, and on the following turn, we KO with another Brick Break. Fourth is Wishcash, which takes about half from an Ice Beam before landing a 4 times super effective Rock Slide that takes us from about full health all the way down to 37 HP. But it doesn't matter as we land another Ice Beam for a KO, and last is her Hippowdon, which thankfully goes down to 1 super effective Ice Beam. Well, now with that done, it's time for the Fire-type Elite Four member Flint. He leads with Rapidash, which lives in Aerial Ace and literally KOs us from full health with a Flare Blitz. Well, I was hoping for a bit of a better start, but I will try again. After 3 more losses, we finally get this attempt where Rapidash goes for Bounce instead of Flare Blitz. We easily live the Bounce and can KO with 2 Aerial Aces. Infernape is out next, and it goes down to a single Aerial Ace. Third is Steelix, which we bring down to a sliver with an Ice Beam before it sets up a Sunny Day. Flint heals as we go for an Aerial Ace, but on the following turn we can land another Ice Beam, but it just barely lives it, and fires back a Fire Fang for surprisingly little damage. On the following turn we finally KO Steelix. Second to last is Drifblim, which is 1 Ice Beam away from a cold KO, and lastly is Lopunny, which we outspeed and hit with a Brick Break, winning us the battle. Finally, we get to the last Elite Four member, Lucian, the Psychic-type specialist. He leads with Mr. Mime, which takes massive damage from Aerial Ace before setting a Light Screen. On the following turn, Lucian heals, but 2 more Aerial Aces takes it out. Second out is Bronzong, which takes barely anything from our Brick Break and lands a Psychic for 1/3 of our HP. Next turn, we miss our Brick Break and take another Psychic. Then, we miss another Brick Break and take a Gyro Ball that takes us out. Damn, this is starting to get a little repetitive, huh? After 2 more tries, we finally get this amazing attempt. Lucian leads Mr. Mime, which is now a one-shot with Aerial Ace. And next is the devil himself, Bronzong. But now our Brick Break is a comfortable 3-hit KO, but Gyro Ball is an easy 2-hit KO. Another Brick Break takes Bronzong to the yellow, but it heals with a berry instead of KOing us, sets up a Calm Mind. Our Brick Break still doesn't KO, but again, instead of going for Gyro Ball, which will easily KO, it Calm Minds again. Lucian heals as we go for an Ice Beam, hoping for a freeze, but it doesn't happen. Another Brick Break lands, taking Bronzong to about half, and finally it goes for a Psychic, and we live with just 14 HP remaining. Next turn, our Brick Break still doesn't KO, but Bronzong goes for a 3rd Calm Mind while we're on 22 HP. On the next turn, we don't take any chances and go for an Aerial Ace to KO. Okay, now Bronzong is gone, but can we make it through the next 3 Pokemon with just 24 HP? Next is Medicham, which is a one-shot. Next is Alakazam, which is also a one-shot with Aerial Ace. Last is Girafarig, which somehow manages to live an Aerial Ace with a sliver of HP and lands a Crunch. Lucian heals, but it's for nothing as 1 crit Aerial Ace puts Girafarig down, winning us our last Elite Four fight. Now, it's time for the real challenge. Cynthia. She leads Spiritomb, which goes down to 2 Aerial Aces while barely dealing damage. Second is Gastrodon, which avoids return and lands a Muddy Water for not only good damage but also an accuracy drop. On the following turn we miss return again and get hit with another Muddy Water, but we manage to land a return, but Gastrodon lives in the yellow and absolutely destroys us with a Stone Edge. This is how our second attempt goes. Spiritomb again goes down easily, barely dealing any damage. Second is Gastrodon, which lives a return with the yellow health and fires back a Muddy Water, but thankfully doesn't drop our accuracy. Cynthia restores its HP, but our Aerial Ace takes it back to the yellow and we KO on the following turn. Third is Milotic, which takes massive damage from a return as we take a Surf. One more Aerial Ace and it's KO'd. Fourth is her infamous Garchomp, but Delibird makes the pseudo-legendary its bitch with a singular Ice Beam. Fifth is Lucario, which dodges a Brick Break and fires back an Aura Sphere, which we barely live. Now we have to decide whether to go for the damage with Aerial Ace that might KO, or risk another miss with Brick Break. We eventually go for the Brick Break and thankfully it lands and OHKOs Lucario. And lastly, the only Pokemon standing between us and becoming the champion is Roserade, which is a one-hit KO with an Aerial Ace, making us the champion and winning us the run. Honestly, I was really worried that we were going to breeze through a lot of this run because we had to be so high level to get past the first gym, but thankfully it wasn't always super easy, especially the Elite Four and Champion, and I couldn't imagine not having Hustle for this run. All of the damage you saw was multiplied by 1.5. Imagine doing a third less damage every single turn. Either way, I really enjoyed this run and I hope you did too. I'm not sure what Pokemon I want to use next and in what game, so let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. And with all that being said, thank you guys and I'll see you in the next Pokemon challenge. Peace.